guys, and I'm Retro Critic here. And today we're going to be talking about season 5. Hi guys, and I'm Retro Critic here. And today we're going to be talking about season 5 of Tom's the Tank Engine. Now we'll be talking about season 5. Now we'll be talking about season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine. And now in this season, it was called Ghislaine. It was directed by David Menon and produced by Burt Allcroft. And this is where there's no Shine Time Station except Magic Railroad. And this is where they do original stories because Humphrey died. No, this is where it was produced by Burt Allcroft Pictures, and then it became Ghislaine Entertainment. And then it was also in the Ghislaine Entertainment season 5. Later on season 5, I think Blue Water still is here. Okay, then so in season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine, it was directed by David Menon, and it was also produced by Burt Allcroft. In this season, there's no Shine Time Station, except Magic. Now in this season, there's no Shine Time Station except Magic Railroad, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And this is where it was produced by Burt Allcroft Pictures. Then was later. Now there's still Blue Water, but I think Blue was still became part of it. Then later became Ghislaine Entertainment after, and then here in this season. So first of all, I think Blue Water Studios still produced this season, or I think Blue Water Studios. It actually became no more earlier around this time. That company was bankrupt. That company is no more. But then later, it became Burt Allcroft Studios, and then Burt Allcroft Studios. Then later, Burt Allcroft Studios produced season 3 through later season 3 up to season 5. Because Blue Water is no. Blue Water Studios is no more. Blue Water Studios became bankrupt. It became no more. That company expired and it became Burt Allcroft Studios. Sorry, Burt Allcroft Pictures. And Burt Allcroft Pictures produced this season. And Burt Allcroft Pictures produced season 3 up to season. And Burt Allcroft Pictures produced up to season 1 up to season 5. And and that's interesting. And that's pretty much it about that. And now later on, around season 5, it was also sometimes called. It also became produced, like it still had it. So around season 5, it was also produced by Ghislaine Entertainment, which Burt Allcroft Pictures became Ghislaine Entertainment. Like Ghislaine Entertainment still had the banner right here in season 5. Ghislaine Entertainment still had the banner around in season 5. But Ghislaine Entertainment officially became Ghislaine Entertainment after, like, around season 6. That's where Burt Pictures. Like, Burt Allcroft Pictures later became Ghislaine Entertainment right around season 6 after the movie. That's basically kind of what happened. It formed into that. That's basically kind of pretty much what happened. Just giving you a little company history right there. So that's kind of fascinating. And that's kind of it turned into that, and so it's company history there. So a little fascinating company history. So, there's that. There's that stuff. Now, this is the first season where they made original stories based on script ideas of this season. They no longer adapt, Reverend Audrey's stories and Christopher Audrey's stories because a few years earlier, Reverend W. Audrey passed away a few years ago. He passed away around 95, 96, I believe. And that's where, around 1998, this came on. But by the way, season 5 came out in 1998, and then later 1999 in the U.S. So it's interesting about that. But what's fascinating is, because around that time, around 1996, around 1995, Reverend W. Audrey passed away around that time. So he passed away, and after that, that's kind of why they don't adapt his stories anymore. Well, I mean, they pretty much adapt most of the story. They just want to move on to other things. And they don't even adapt Christopher Audrey's stories. And they kind of want to move on to different things because they don't even... Now, by the way, they don't even adapt Christopher Audrey's stories. So that's interesting. And they kind of want to move on from his stories. They have most of Christopher's stories. Now, by the way, they didn't move on from most of Christopher... They want to move on from... Now, by the way, they did adapt most of Christopher's stories, but they want to also move on from Christopher Audrey's stories. So they want to move on from the Audreys. They want to... Christopher and even Reverend Audrey, they want to move on from their stories. They no longer want to adapt their stories. They want to move on from their stories. and that's kind of why they kind of don't even want to like adapt their stories anymore. And that's they don't even want to adapt their stories anymore. That's kind of why they don't even want to. That's kind of why, and that's why right now in this season that's why in this season they wanted to make original stories. So in this season, this is the first season where they want to adapt and make original stories, and they want to use script ideas for this series. So it's all original stories in this season. And by the way, season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine came out in 1998. So it was released in season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine was released in 1998 in the UK, and it was released in 1999 in the US. So season 5 also came out in 1999 in the US. Season 5 Tom's Tank Engine. So it's interesting right there. So just to let you know about that. But this was the first season where they just, it's all original ideas, scripted. So that's cool. They made their own script ideas. And this is just a fun season. And this is actually one of my favorite seasons, by the way. But this is the first season. This is the first season where they kind of create their own original stories in this season. And that's really awesome about it. That's what makes this season really cool, because in this season they basically kind of create their own original stories around this season. A lot of original script ideas. So that's really awesome. That's really cool right there. Based on a lot of script ideas, just based on scripts. Cool, also original stories based on that's the cool part about that. That's what I really like about that. And the Audrey story, it's cool. It's just all original ideas, and this was in the end of the day they made an awesome product. And in the end of the day they produced a really awesome season. It's definitely so they based original script ideas and a lot of original script, like based on a lot of script ideas, and they based this season on a lot of scripts. And what I really like about it is that's fun. They do so much in this season, and they deliver. They produce some amazing episodes of this season, and they deliver some amazing episodes in this season. And it's really awesome. So many awesome, cool episodes of this season, and this is my favorite season. Season 5 is my favorite season of the series. And Season 5 Tom's Tank Engine is like basically my favorite season of the series. So that's what I really like about that. I really love that stuff. And you get so many amazing episodes of this season. You get episodes like Haunted Henry, Duncan Gets Spooked, Toby's Discovery, Stephanie Gets Lost, like but they have different themes of this season. There's like this time there's a lot of explosions and crashes. A lot of action this season. There's even a lot of horror episodes, like a lot of spooky episodes, and there's like the atmosphere is great, and there's good, chills and some thrills in this season. That's really fun part about it. And they made it. And one of my favorite episodes is Toad Stands By George. The Return of George Steamroller should be called. Stephanie Gets Lost, where Stephanie was almost scrapped but saved. Haunted Henry, haunted by like a haunted station. I love so many fun episodes. Rusty in the oh my god, Rusty in the Snow. I love Snow. So you get amazing episodes like that. I would go on and on. Gremlin, so many. And in this season, get Alec Baldwin. Now, Alec Baldwin was narrating this. And by the way, so I grew up with Tom's Tank Engine. Now, I actually first saw this season on the VHS tape, Cranky Bugs. And then, I almost forgot. Mike, I forgot to mention, my previous reviews, I forgot to mention who did the score for Tom's Tank Engine. And that's, now, there are two composers. One is named Mike O'Donnell, the other one was Junior Campbell. So the people that did the score for Tom's Tank Engine was Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell. They did the score for the series, at least the first 7 seasons, and they were terrific. They were fabulous. I thought their scores were amazing around this season, especially in the previous seasons. The score now was introduced to Cream. And by the way, I forgot to mention in my previous video reviews. And by the way, I forgot to mention, like in my previous video reviews, I forgot to mention who did the score for Tom's Tank Engine. I forgot to mention who did the score for Tom's Tank Engine. So, there are 2 people that did the score for the series. So there are 2 people that did the score for the Tom's Tank Engine series. And so the people that did the score for Tom's Tank Engine was Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell. Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell did the score for Tom's Tank Engine. And their score was terrific. And they did the score for at least the first 7 seasons. Mike and Junior did the score for at least the first 7. So Mike and Junior did the score for at least the first 7 seasons. And Mike and Junior's score in this season was terrific. Their score for the first 4 were great. Their score for the first 4 seasons were great. Their score for the first, and they were amazing. And their score was amazing. and their score was amazing in the first 4 seasons. But their score here was terrific. Their score here of season 5 was terrific. Their score was probably the best ever, and it was my favorite season. Score in here of season 5. Their score in season 5 was amazing, and it's probably my favorite. It's really my favorite. I really enjoyed this one. Their score for season 5 was like their best, in my opinion. I mean, their score for season 5, their score for season 5 is probably my favorite. I mean, their score for season 5 was really, their score for season 5 was really fantastic here, and their score for season 5 is probably my favorite too. And it's probably my favorite too. So, and I will go on. And like I said, so now I first saw season 5. Now I was first introduced to season 5 of the VHS tape Cranky Bugs. Now I first saw season 5. Now I was first introduced to season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine through the VHS tape Cranky Bugs, and also the VHS tape Races, Rescues, and Runaway. And Cranky Bugs was the VHS tape that I grew up with, and Cranky Bugs was the VHS tape I first saw, and then I later saw Races, Rescues, and Runaways VHS tape. So those are the 2 VHS tapes that I saw that introduced me to the show. So I'll go on, and that's what I really like about it. So those are my thoughts on that. So that's kind of how I feel about that. So the atmosphere is really great in this season. I love the light, and that's the thing. I love Dave Min's direction of this season. Okay, I really like Dave Min's. I like Dave Min's direction. Dave Min is great. The lighting cinematography. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's great. It's fantastic. I mean, I really like Dave Min's direction this season. Because it's like here's the thing. I really love Dave Min. I really love Dave Min's direction in this season. It's amazing. I like this. I love the cinematography. The lighting's my favorite here. I really like the cinematography. The lighting's my favorite. Atmosphere. I mean, just so many great shots. So many great shots. Beauty. My favorite. The cinematography is on par with season 2 of the season. And it's one of my favorite seasons. It's on par to one of my other favorite seasons. I love the lighting. The atmosphere is great. And it's on par to one of my favorite seasons of season 2. And this is one of my favorite seasons. And season 5 is my favorite. I love I love the lighting. This is my favorite light. I love the cinematography of this season, of season 5. I love the lighting of this season, the atmosphere. I love everything about it. This is my favorite. Okay, and I gotta, and at the same time, look, this is my favorite season. Season 5 is my favorite. I love this atmosphere. Season 5. I love the spooky atmosphere. I really love the spooky atmosphere this season. And it's one of the reasons why season 5 is my favorite. And this is why season 5 is my favorite. Now, like I said, in this season, they explore a lot of themes. They explore a lot of themes in this season. Okay, and that's what's really cool about this season. There's a lot of variety. Right? And that's what's really cool about this season. That's what's really cool about this season. That's what's really cool about this season. That's what's cool about this season. There's a lot of variety. That's what's really cool about this season. There's a lot of variety in this season. There's a lot of variety in this season. That's really cool part about this season. That's really cool part about this season. And that's what I really like about, about that and all that stuff. That's cool about it. And there's a lot of fun stuff here, and like I said, there's a lot of cool horror episodes, a lot of action episodes. You get a lot of horror episodes, a lot of spooky thrills episodes. For example, you get Duncan gets spooked, Haunted Henry, Stephanie gets lost, Toby's discovery. Those episodes. I like the episode Haunted Henry, where Henry confronts a haunted station. There's a haunted station and a haunted conductor. That's what I really like about that episode. And then Stephanie gets lost, where Stephanie gets lost. He gets lost. But then it turns out he gets lost in the scrapyard. And it's an episode where Stephanie was almost scrapped, but then saved at the end. And you get introduced to villains like Ari and Bert. Oh my God, who cannot forget Ari and Bert? Most intimidating villains ever. In the other episode, there's a haunted conductor, but it turns out to be a good. In Haunted Henry, they thought in that episode they thought there was a haunted conductor, but he turns out to be a good conductor or a good relay station man. He turns out to be a good relay. Yeah. He turns out they thought he's a haunted station man. It's an episode in Haunted Henry where they thought he's a haunted station man, but then he turns out he's a good station man. This is the episode Haunted Henry. Now, and Stephanie gets lost. Now, thankfully, Stephanie gets saved because he almost gets. Now, thankfully, thankfully, Stephanie gets saved in that episode. He was rescued by Sir Topham Hatt. But that's where you get introduced to Airing Bird, where Airing Bird is like the most intimidating in this episode. Others see they just became joke bully characters. But I like how in this episode, Stephanie gets rescued. It's like a giant. No, with a giant claw almost like kills Stephanie, almost scraps Stephanie. But then thankfully, Sir Topham Hatt stops the claw from. But thankfully, Sir Topham Hatt stops the claw from scratching and killing Stephanie, crushing him, and Sir Topham Hatt pretty much saves his life. But like I said, really good episode, really memorable, and you get introduced to villains like Airing Bird, And Airing Bird, this is the episode where they're most. This is the episode where like Airing and Bert are like the most intimidating and scariest in this episode. But in later episodes and later seasons, they become like joke characters. That's why I don't really like. They became bully characters in later episodes and later seasons. That's the one thing that bothers me. But I digress. I'll go on. Yeah, that's the one downside to it. But I digress. Look, and there's many episodes, and this is a very action-packed season. This is a very action-packed season. Like there's so many explosion crashes. There's so many like explosion crashes in this season. I will go on like so many crashes. A lot of explosions. Like you get like. Percy's surprise. James in the tree. We go tree. Put upon Percy, where there's the carts crash into a mine and it falls. Like the mine like collapses. Amazing episodes. You get surprise for Percy. Then you get James and we get episodes like James in the tree, where James was almost smashed by a tree. You get episodes like Put Upon Percy, where in Put Upon Percy. Carts actually crash, like the freight carts accidentally crash the mine, and the mine collapses, and the mine gets destroyed. So you get episodes like that. And you get episodes, in my favorite, you get episodes like Toad Stands By. In my other favorite episode, you get episodes like By George, where it's like The Return of George the Steamroller. It literally should be called The Return of George the Steamroller. You get memorable episodes like that. And I would go on and on. And and my favorite, you get episodes like Rusty the Boulder. I love Rusty the Boulder. My favorite episode where there's a supernatural boulder and it's chasing him and exploding crashes. And then you get episodes like Snow. I love Snow, where it's an avalanche of snow and I'll go on. But I like Rusty the Boulder, where there's like a supernatural boulder that chases Rusty, and the supernatural boulder kind of crashes, and there's an ambiguous ending of that. There's an anonymous and ambiguous ending of that episode. I will go on and on. So you get crazy episodes like that. A lot of action in Rusty and Boulder. But the Rusty and Boulder, there's a lot of action. There was a lot of action in Rusty and Boulder. There was an ambiguous ending of that episode. Just a lot of action in that episode. I really love the episode. I really like the episode. Yeah, really good episode, Rusty and the Boulder. An episode like Snow, where the freight carts crash in the snow of an avalanche, and there's like an avalanche, and we hit like a hill of snow, and there was like an avalanche of snow hitting the ground hitting like almost like pretty much hitting Skarlory. So you get episodes like that, and you get a lot of episodes like that and all that stuff, where like the snow hits Skarlory, where it goes in the ground, where it hits Skarlory, where the snow goes down the ground and hits Skarlory, and it will go on and on. So you get really fun, cool episodes like that, really cool, fun episodes, and it's really good. And you get all that stuff, and you get amazing stuff like that, and you get fun episode, yeah. So you got a lot of cool, fun episodes of this season. You get a lot of comedic episodes like Sir Topham Hatt's Holiday, Gordon the Gremlin, Thomas in the Room. You get episodes like, we get a lot of comedic episodes like Sir Topham Hatt's Birthday Party. I love all that stuff. I mean, you get a lot of nice episodes like Make Someone Happy, Thomas and the Wedding. I really like Thomas Wedding. You get a lot of nice episodes like Thomas the Wedding. You get a lot of nice, fun episodes like Thomas and the Wedding and Make Someone Happy and all that stuff and crazy stuff like that. A lot of nice fun stuff like that. And you get a lot of comedic episodes like Thomas Gordon the Gremlin and there's like a lot of nice, and there's a lot of like fun episodes like Thomas in the Room, I really liked. Well, it's an episode I don't mind. And you get a lot of comedic episodes like Sir Topham Hatt's Holiday and Sir Topham Hatt's Birthday Party. So a lot of fun episodes, a lot of cool fun episodes, a lot of hilarious episodes. Just a really entertaining, fun season. I will go on. This is a super fun season. A lot of really fun. but still, there was like a lot of fun. There was a lot of cool and fun episodes of the season. Just really entertaining, fun season. Good fun season. It's a really good fun season. It's a really good fun. It's a really fun good season. A lot of entertaining, enjoyable episodes, and a lot of entertaining, enjoyable episodes in this season. Really enjoyable episodes of this season, and really enjoyed. There's a lot of enjoyable episodes of this season. There's a lot of enjoyable episodes of the season. There's a lot of good episodes of this season. I really, really like it. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I will go on really good episodes. Really had a good time with it. So, I mean, I'll go on. And also you get like narrators. Now let's go on to the narrators. So, of the narrators, there's like, now in this season we get narrators like Michael Angelis. Now we still get like Michael Angelis in this season, who I think is a good job. Now in this season, this is the first time we have Alec Baldwin as the narrator of the U.S. dub. So, and I think Alec Baldwin is spectacular. At least this is his best narration work. Some of his voices, he tries to be like George Carlin. Other voices, he's too cheesy, but there's guilty pleasure with some of his voices. Like the Gordon voice is too pompous, or the Gordon voice is just too goofy and cheesy. The James voice, like, it sounds gay. Hell, even there was an interview from Conan O'Brien where he was interviewed by Conan O'Brien, and even Conan O'Brien thought his James voice was gay. I'm not kidding, there's a clip of it, look it up. I'm not kidding, that's a thing, look it up. Okay, so now we're going to do a narrator voice comparison between Michael Angelis and Alec Baldwin. So we're going to be like do a compare and contrast between the voice narrators of Michael Angelis and Alec Baldwin. So here we go.
Suddenly he saw James pulling a long, slow train. Yikes!
Help! Save me!
A quick-thinking shunter did just in time. What was that? Exclaimed James.
Suddenly, he saw James pulling a long, slow train. Oh my goodness! Help! Save me! A quick-thinking shunter did just in time. What was that? Exclaimed James.
Help! Called the engines from inside the shed. I can't, called Cranky pathetically.
Help! Called the engines from inside the shed. I can't! Called Cranky.
Okay, so that was the compare and contrast of the voice narrators. And that was the voice narrator comparisons between Michael Angelis and Alec Baldwin. Now, who do I think is the winner of Best Narrator? I would say Alec Baldwin. Michael Angelis was alright. Like, I think Michael Angelis was actually really good in this season. I didn't mind him. I thought he was alright in this season. I mean, he was really good in this season. Don't get me wrong. But I just kind of prefer Alec Baldwin more in this season. I think Alec Baldwin was kind of the best narrator of this season. I think Alec Baldwin was phenomenal in this season. So the winner goes to Alec Baldwin for Best Voice Narrator of this season. Now, on to the narrators. So, when we get to the narrators, like I said, we get like, in the UK dub, we get Michael Angelis. We still get Michael Angelis in this season. And I think he did a fantastic job. I really like him in this season. I feel like this is also one of his best seasons. He puts a lot of energy into it. He's super fun and entertaining this season. Really like him here. Now, like I said, Alec Baldwin was there of the US dub. For the US, this is where we were introduced to Alec Baldwin. This is where Alec Baldwin became the US narrator of this season. And this is his first season. This is where we were introduced to him. So I really like him as the narrator here in this season. I think this is his best season. I think this is pretty much his best season, really. And I really like his voices. So I really like his voices in this season. And like I said, he's trying to so hard to do the George Carlin voices. Like when he does the voices, when Alec Baldwin does the voices of characters, I swear to God, Alec Baldwin is trying to do his George Carlin voices of certain characters. You know, and that's pretty much it. And he tries to sound like George Carlin's Bill and Ben or Donald Douglas a little bit. Well, not Donald Douglas, but a little bit of that, and a little bit. And he tries to sound a little bit he tries to do George Carlin's Percy. You know, which I think he's really great at. But like I said, no, he tries to do George Carlin's Bill and Ben. No, like I said, he tries to do George Carlin's Bill and Ben. He tries to sound really similar like him, like that, related to that. And he tries to sound like George Carlin's Percy, and I swear to God, he's trying to sound like George Carlin's Percy's voice. His Percy's voice. So that's what I really like about that. I think those are his. I think those are his best voices. I think he's really good at that. I think those are his best. No, I think those are like his best voices. I really like his voices here this season. And like I said, his Gordon voice is pompous. It's too pompous. His Gordon voice is so his Gordon voice is so cheesy and just silly and like I don't know. Just I don't know. It's just goofy, but I have to go. I like it. It's just his Gordon voice is just so laughably bad, but like his Gordon voice is just so laughably bad. But I'll admit his Gordon voice is like a guilty pleasure for me. Okay. His Jane voice sounds so gay. His Jane voice sounds so gay. I swear to God, he tries to do this queer gay voice for James. I swear to God, Alec Baldwin tries to do like this queer gay voice for James. But the funny part is, now, like I said, and there's an interview with Conan O'Brien where Conan O'Brien asked Alec Baldwin that, and even Conan O'Brien thought his James voice was gay. And Alec Baldwin said to him, "Oh, well, that's up to your interpretation. Up to my interpretation, my ass, and you sound like that." Look, I mean, like I said, you can look. There's a clip of it. There's an actual clip of it where Conan O'Brien interviews Alec Baldwin. You can look it up. But like I said, there's an interview where Conan O'Brien interviews Alec Baldwin, and even Conan O'Brien thought Alec Baldwin's James voice was gay, and that's saying something. That is saying something. I mean, come on, if Conan O'Brien says that, I mean, you're not fooling anyone. But like, God, sorry. Yeah, no, I would go on and on, but I swear, no, but seriously, his James voice is super gay. I mean, seriously, gay and queer, and I like it how in the interview, and like, look, I mean, it's obvious, it's super gay, but like, look, I like how in the interview, Alec Baldwin thought, "Oh, that's up to your interpretation." I like how Alec Baldwin is like, "Oh, that's up to your interpretation." I like how in the interview, Alec Baldwin said to him, "Well, it's up to your interpretation," and I'm like, "That's your interpretation." I'm like, interpretation, man. He's like, "Well, that's your." Like, I like how in the Conan interview, Alec Baldwin said, "Well, that's your interpretation," and I'm like, interpretation, my ass. That's the gayest voice I ever heard in my life, and his voice sounds very like queer. I mean, come on, like you're not feeling. I mean, anybody. I mean, if Conan O'Brien thinks that's gay, then that's saying something. Okay, if Conan O'Brien thinks your James voice is gay, then that's saying something. Okay, like seriously, his James voice is like so obviously gay and queer, so queer, and like seriously, his James voice is so gay that's obvious. You know? Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't want to go on a tangent here. Sorry, I will go on. I don't want to go on a tangent here. Switching gears. Sorry. Moving on from that. Look, so other good aspects of Alec Baldwin's narration is I like his narration. His voice for Thomas is great. I like his voice for I love his voice for Oliver. I love his Cockney accent for Duncan. I love his voice for Duncan, my favorite. I like his voice. His voice for Harold's pretty good. But like I said, I like Alec Baldwin has a good voice for Thomas. I like Alec Baldwin's voice for Thomas. His voice for Harold's pretty good. His voice for Harold the Helicopter is pretty good. And I like his Oliver voice. His Oliver voice is really fun and good. Oh, his Henry voice is... Oh, I love his Henry voice. Toes was good. Edward's fine. His Edward's voice is really good. I love his Henry voice. His Henry voice is really underrated. Oh, and this is where we get into his Crane. His sort of top hat voice sounds like Hitchcock to me. We get... Income sound great. The Frank Carter sound great. His voice for Eddie and Clarabelle sound great. They sound really fun. And I like his Oliver voice. His Oliver voice is good. I like his really British voice for Oliver and Toad. Yes, even Toad. I like. Oh, my favorite is his Duncan voice. I love his Duncan voice. My favorite is his Duncan voice. I love Alec Baldwin's Duncan voice here. I love it how he gives Duncan the Cockney. I love his Cockney accent for Duncan. I love Alec Baldwin. I love how Alec Baldwin gives Duncan a Cockney accent. I love Alec Baldwin's Duncan. I love Duncan's Cockney accent voice that Alec Baldwin gives. I really love that. I love Alec Baldwin's voice for that character. Love that. So there's a lot of things I like of Alec Baldwin's narration here, clearly. And honestly, I would say I prefer Alec Baldwin's narration. Look, so, and by the way, we get introduced to new characters like Cranky Kane. He's an original character. I love his voice of Cranky. And by the way, we get introduced to new characters like Cranky the Crane. And Cranky the Crane is an original character. So he's not from the books. He's an original character from the series, and that's cool. So he's not based on the books at all. He's an original character from the series. That's cool. So he's an original character from the series, and that's an awesome thing. That's a cool thing. And like I said, in Cranky the Crane, okay, so Cranky the Crane, and I really like his voice for Cranky the Crane. I really like his voice. He does a good. I really like his voice for Cranky the Crane. He does a good voice for Cranky the Crane. And I even like his voice for Sir Topham Hatt. I like Alec Baldwin's voice for Sir Topham Hatt. Alec Baldwin gives Sir Topham Hatt like this Hitchcock voice. I swear to God, like Alec Baldwin gives Sir Topham Hatt like this Hitchcock voice. I swear to God, like it sounds like Alfred Hitchcock to me in my ear. Like he does this Hitchcockian voice. I like that. He does like Alfred Hitchcock voice. He does this like Hitchcockian voice. So I like that. This very Hitchcock voice. So I really like. So that's what I really like about that's what I really like about that. So those are my thoughts on Alec Baldwin's narration. So that's what I really like about Alec Baldwin's narration. That's what I really like about Alec Baldwin's narration. That's what I really like about Alec Baldwin's narration. And that's what I really like about Alec Baldwin's voices here. And that's what I really like I really like Alec Baldwin's voices here. That's why I really like Alec Baldwin's voices here, these characters. And I really like a lot of Alec Baldwin's voice. I really like Alec Baldwin's voices for these characters here. And I'll go on and on. So, okay, so now, in terms of what narrator I prefer, I clearly prefer the Alec Baldwin narration, because maybe I just have a lot of nostalgia, and I grew up with it, because, by the way, this is the first season, this is my generation, this is the first season I grew up with. Michael Angelis, I actually think this is Michael Angelis. I think he's actually really good in this season. Now, by the way, I think this is his best season. I think he's really good in this season. Because I feel like Michael Angelis has really improved here this season. And I think this is one of Michael Angelis' best seasons. This is where Michael Angelis really improved here this season. Now, I never grew up, or I never heard or saw Michael Angelis' narration for this season. Okay, so this is the first time I seen the Michael Angelis version of this season, the Michael Angelis narration of this season. Because like I said, from season 7. So this is the first one, and this is really cool. And I never heard his narration voice up till season. Well, I'm not the only one. And now I never heard his narration up until season. Well, we all never heard it from season 7. But I really like his voice of season 5. This first one, because I never heard his narration until season 7 and going. Now I never heard of Michael Angelis' voice. Now I never heard of Angelis' narration up until season 7. Actually, most people from the U.S. would say that, yeah, they never heard of Angelis' narration until season 7 came out. But this is the first time I heard Michael Angelis' narration for season 5, and it's great. Now, this is the first time I heard, Michael Angelis' narration for season 5, and it's actually really good. And so, that's how I feel about that. But in the end of the day, I really prefer Alec Baldwin's narration. I would say Alec Baldwin's the winner here. I would say that they're a close tie, but let me get to that. So, I have a lot of nostalgia for Alec Baldwin, because he was the first narrator I grew up with, or it came out around my generation in time. And this is the season where, okay, so I grew up with this narration. So I was the generation that grew up with this narration. So I was the generation that grew up with Alec Baldwin's narration. This was my generation, so it came out around that time. This was like the new season. This is where I grew up with this season. So maybe I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but objectively, in the end of the day, I really enjoyed this season. Because this is like my generation, and I grew up with Alec Baldwin's narration. So this was like basically season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine. Season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine is basically like my generation of Tom's Tank Engine. Because that's the season where I grew up. That's where this was a new season at the time. This is the season where I grew up watching it for the first time. And this was like a new season at the time. So season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine. So this was the season where I kind of grew up watching, for the first time at that time. Where I watched season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine. So season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine. So season 5 of Tom's Tank Engine is where I have a lot of nostalgia for. I grew up watching it around that time. So clearly I have a lot of nostalgia for the season. Nostalgia. So clearly I have a lot of nostalgia for this season. Now I have a lot of nostalgia for this season, and I have a lot of nostalgia for this season, and I have a lot of nostalgia for this season. But now objectively, I think Baldwin's narration was really good here. I really prefer. I prefer his narration over Angelus, but and look, Alec Baldwin was a good narration, and like look, I really like. So I prefer his. He's the winner. I would say Angelus and Baldwin were a close tie because look, I think Baldwin was really good. I think this was his best season. Like I said, I really thought Baldwin was great here, good here. I thought Baldwin was good here in this season. I thought he was a good narrator in this season. I thought he was a good narrator in this season. I really thought I liked good narration. I thought he did a good narration. I really liked his narration. I thought he was great here. I liked his narration here this season. I thought he was great here. I thought he did a great narration. I thought he did a great narration. I thought he did an amazing. No, I loved it. I loved his narration. I loved his narration. It's amazing. But I would say Michael Andrews and Alec Baldwin are like a close tie for me because I think they're both equally good in this season. So that's kind of how I feel about that. But I clearly prefer Alec Baldwin in this season. So the winner of Best Narrator of this season is Alec Baldwin. So Alec Baldwin is the winner. So Alec Baldwin is like the winner for Best Narrator of this season. And that's kind of all I gotta say. And those are my thoughts on that. So this season was a big hit. This was like the height of Thomas Tank Engine's fame. And I give this season 8. It should be a close 9. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. That's kind of all I gotta say. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some honorable mentions of my favorite episodes of Season 5 of Thomas Tank Engine. So these come in no particular order, so here are my honorable mentions of my favorite episodes of Season 5. So the first honorable mention is Lady Hat's Birthday. That's a good episode. I like that one. The second honorable mention is Sir Topham Hatt's Holiday. That's another good one. I really like that one. Another honorable mention is Cranky Bugs. Really like that one. Another honorable mention is Horde Lorry. Really good one. Another honorable mention is Snow. Always like that one. Another good honorable mention is James and the Trouble with Trees. Really good one. Another good one I like is Toby's Discovery. And another really good one I like is A Better View for Gordon. Another good one I like is Gordon and the Gremlin. Another one I like is Double Teething Troubles. Another one I really like is A Surprise for Percy. That's a pretty decent one. Another good episode I like is Oliver's Find. Yeah, that's a really good one. Okay, those are my honorable mentions. Now, here are my top 8. And my top 8 goes in no particular order. So, here we go. Number 8 is Toby and the Flood. Number 7 is Something in the Air. Number 6 is Stepney Gets Lost. Number 5 is Busy Going Backwards. Number 4 is Duncan Gets Spooked. Number 3 is Rusty and the Boulder. Number 2 is By George. And number 1 is Put Upon Percy. And that was my top 8 favorite episodes of Season 5 of Thomas Tank Engine. In the end of the day, guys, so overall, guys, so I give Season 5 of Thomas Tank Engine an 8 out of 10. And actually, no, I don't mind even giving this season a 9 out of 10, because that's how much I really like this season of Season 5 Thomas Tank Engine. So I give Season 5 Thomas Tank Engine an 8 out of 10. So I give Season 5 of Thomas Tank Engine a 9 out of 10. So I give Season 5 Thomas Tank Engine an 8 out of 10. But no, I would actually say I might give this... But I actually would say I give Season 5 Thomas Tank Engine a 9 out of 10, because that's how much I really like this season. Season 5 Thomas Tank Engine. That's how much I really, enjoy this. That's how much I really like this season. That's how much I really enjoyed this season. And now we're going on. So I really had a good time. This is my favorite season. Those are my thoughts on that. So that's... I don't have much to say, but, okay, so that's my thoughts on that. This was a really good season. And afterwards, it, goes downhill afterwards, but this was the best. This was Thomas Tank Engine at its best. This was his fame. This was the height of Thomas Tank Engine's fame. This was the height of Thomas the Tank Engine's popularity. Of Thomas Tank's fame. This height of Thomas' popularity. This is the height of Thomas Tank's fame. So this was the best Thomas Tank, and this was the best where Thomas Tank Engine was at. Okay, this was Thomas Tank Engine's peak. Okay, this was Thomas the Tank Engine's peak. So okay. Afterwards, it went down. There's some gems, but it went downhill. Afterwards, it went downhill. But afterwards, it went downhill after this season. It went downhill after this season. There's some gems, but it went downhill after this. So we'll get to that. But this was Tom at his best, and it went downhill after this. But this was it went downhill this season. Now afterwards of this season, it went downhill after this season. There's some gems, but after this season, it went downhill after this. There's some gems, don't get me wrong, but it went downhill after this. There's some gems, don't get me wrong. But it became even worse afterwards. There's some gems, but it became worse. Now, there's some gems, don't get me wrong, but it became even worse afterwards. But, this was like, this was like as peak. This was like Thomas as. This was where Thomas was at his peak and best, and he was at his great. This was where Thomas Tank Engine was at his peak and best, and this was where Thomas Tank Engine was still like good. And this was where Thomas Tank Engine was still good to watch. And this is where Thomas Tank Engine was still like enjoyable to watch. Was still awesome to watch. And this was where like Thomas Tank Engine was still like a good still nice. And this was where Thomas Tank Engine was still nice. And this is where Thomas Tank Engine was this is where Thomas Tank Engine was still this was where Thomas Tank Engine was still an enjoyable show. And this was and this was where Thomas Tank Engine was still a good show to watch. So, and that's pretty much it. And that's pretty much my thought. That's all I gotta say. So, guys, I'm Retro Critic about. And I'll see you guys later. Catch you around. Okay, see you. Bye. Okay, so guys, that's pretty much all I gotta say. And, so guys, so those are my thoughts of Season 5 of Thomas Tank Engine. And that's all I gotta say about that, of Season 5. Season 5 of Thomas Tank Engine. That's all I gotta say of Season 5 of Thomas. That's all I gotta say, and those are my thoughts of Season 5 of Thomas Tank Engine. So, guys, I'm Retro Critic, and I'm out. And I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys around, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and around. See you guys next time, and peace out, and bye.